Welcome back from the break. This is Privacy Focus, if you just tuned in. So we're talking about the benefits of data protection, what organizations stand to gain for doing data protection. And I just said that before we went on break that we're going to talk about data protection and information security. Yes, we are going to delve in that. But before that, I'd want to talk about what if organizations fail individuals? What is the course of actions that individual can take against such institutions that could have negligent leaders?
Okay, so the first set of individuals that are directly related to that negligent leader is his employees, his or her employees. Employees of institutions have the same rights as individuals, as data subjects. So some institutions will come to us and say, we don't use any people's data in our business, but you have employees. Employees are your data subjects too. If you fail them...
But for saying that, it means that they don't understand what they're talking about.
Exactly. So employees are data subjects. So if you set up business and you employ one person, you already have a duty to data subjects. And you need to fulfill your obligations to them as if you are fulfilling to your customers too, as far as the data you hold on them is concerned. Now, if you fail that individual in any way, being your employee or your customer or your service user or a member, if it's an organization, or whoever collects data, the people whose data you have collected become your data subjects. And when you fail them by defaulting on your responsibilities, and you lose their data, wrongfully sharing, accidentally sharing, losing the data in any way, or processing wrongly inaccurate data, non-quality data, making decisions with non-quality data, they have a right to complain and object. When individuals complain, we encourage them from the commission to first complain to you, the institution, and demand an explanation and correction of the problem and solving the issue with the individual if possible. If that fails, the individual has a right to come to the commission for assistance. When we receive complaints from the individual, the impact on the organization tends to be very high because we don't look at the acute problem that the individual brought forward. We look at your holistic responsibility as a data controller. So you may be hiding or going under the radar all the time. It only takes one individual complaining to the commission and we have a full audit responsibility on the institution. We check if you're registered, we check if you've trained people, we check if you've implemented a privacy program, we check if you're fulfilling your obligations on the full force of the law. And the prosecution will look at all of that in assessing whether the institution has done the right thing or not. And you'll be fined in accordance to the full obligation that you have under the law. So why don't you fulfill your responsibility to the individual to avoid the commission's involvement and the full audit of your institution? We support that individual by first working with the institution to understand what the problem is and to see whether it's worth prosecuting or engaging with the institution to correct the wrong to the individual. And we make a decision under Section 78 of our Act, which is known as a determination. Now, if the determination of the commission is that you are non-compliant in any way at all, as far as the individual's complaint is, then the individual would take that decision, the determination from the commission, as their ticket for claiming compensation from the organization. They can come to you and ask, get their lawyer to, or their campaign group or anyone who represents them to claim a compensation from your institution. If you fail, they have the right to take our determination to court and demand the court to fine you and then force you to compensate them. Just let me finish on that point. From an individual claiming compensation, if you are a large institution, it's a very big risk because anybody that is in the same category of that individual automatically becomes entitled to the same compensation. And so it can quickly trigger from one person to 100 people to 1,000 people that you have to pay off. And that in the world has crippled some companies and ground them to a halt completely. So that is the risk around not doing data protection properly. If one individual complains, it can quickly become masses. And if you are very unfortunate, it can become a class action. And a class action is when one law firm represents 1,000 people to court or 100 people to court about the same issue that that individual got a determination on. So if you are to pay 1,000 to one individual, you can very quickly be paying 100,000 to 100 people. If, for example, you are a bank and it applies to all your customers, if you are a hospital and it applies to all your patients, then you will pay all of them equally, and some even more, depending on how much they've been impacted by that problem.
Ghanaians, especially some organization owners or CEOs would say, oh, the laws don't work in Ghana. Would you be able to talk about any real life situation that must have encountered such a scenario for the commission to give a determination?
Yeah, we've had to give some determinations on very many cases, but because of the reputation of this institution, I'm not able to speak about them online. And the laws, some have gone directly to court and won cases, and obviously the precedent has been set in court already for some individuals on how institutions have failed them, and this is researchable for those who are interested to find out. But the interesting thing here is I spoke here before about the harmonizations of the rule for Africa.
Yes.
So it's not just going to be about the Ghana law in the very near future. It's going to be about the African regional standard, and definitely sanctions and empowering data protection authorities to find institutions are becoming a regional, it's going to be a regional scale determination. That will be an impact on the institution if you have branches in other countries. The determination in Ghana can quickly ripple into all your representations in different countries of Africa if you are not careful. The standard, the international best practice standard of sanctions is 2 to 4% of your gross global worldwide annual turnover is the fine for doing data protection wrong. Wow. So if you look at your global turnover, and 4% of it is how much you can be sanctioned for not doing data protection right, which is what the standard that Europe has set, and Africa is looking to do the same very soon.
And so data controllers are actually better off doing the right thing than waiting for the law to catch up with them.
It's in their favor to do that.
Let's now talk about data protection and information security. One can easily say, especially when they don't have any knowledge about data protection, that it is the same thing or it works hand in hand, or, you know, is there a difference? What is the thin line? Yes.
So these are jargons in the ecosystem.
Okay.
Information security is the method, is the work that is done to protect data and business generic information using technology. So when there is a technology that is being used in the organization to protect information, then the act of using technology to secure the information is described as the information security. Sometimes it's also described as data protection. This is why it confuses people. So you can say that data protection is the verb, the doing of the security, whereas information security is the name of the action.
Okay.
Do you see? So that's the noun, and the data protection is the verb as far as technology is concerned. Sometimes the individual that is doing the data protection is called the information security officer, that is using technology to safeguard data.
Okay.
Now, so that is the difference there. They are securing information, they're safeguarding information, but the act of doing it is data protection, whilst the name of that technical business is information security.
At what point does cybersecurity come in?
So cybersecurity, we can also use an analogy. This room that we are in can be the cyberspace, which is the space. Anyone who is using internet is in the cyberspace. Anyone with access to internet is an actor in the cyberspace. You are actually in the cyberspace when you are on social media, doing stuff online.
Okay.
When you're using social media to do your business, to talk to people, to engage with other people, when you're using your WhatsApp, when you're using your tools, your phones, your laptop, you are in the cyberspace doing some sort of activity. So you can look at the cyberspace as the kitchen.
Okay.
The pipes, the pipeline that comes into the sink is the information security, the technical safeguarding of the information in the cyberspace. The water that flows through the pipe is the data protection. So the cyberspace is everything that is happening in the ecosystem. The lines and the structures and the means by which we transfer information using technology has to do with information security. The actual thing that people want and are using in the space, the water, is the data. The data protection is what we work with, if you can get it. So we are concerned with the actual water flow. We are the water and sewage people. So we are concerned with what is flowing through the pipes and what it is, whether it's generic data, or it's business data, or it's personal data. We do those differentiations and decide what to protect. Technical people are concerned with the pipeline. Is there leakage? That's what we talk when there's hacking, there's malware, there's ransomware. They are protecting the pipeline from all sorts of bursts, cracks, leakage, seeps into the ecospace, so that there's no flooding. When there's flooding, then there's complete hack and ransomware, and people have had a field day with the data.
Yeah.
So the technical people, the information security people, ensure the pipelines are accurate. And the cybersecurity authority is the team that makes sure that everything that should be happening in the kitchen is ticking. So they are looking at the pipes, they are looking at the individuals in the ecosystem, the plumbers and all that. They are looking at them. They are looking at the data protection people who are regulating everyone else who's acting in the ecosystem. And they are particularly looking for the malicious actors. So we are all actors in the cyberspace, but the cybersecurity team are making sure that the malicious actors don't get near the pipelines or the data, the water itself. They don't get access to the water by cracking the pipeline or unplugging any part of the pipeline. Who are the malicious actors? Those who hack systems, those who use ransomware, the Sakawa boys, the 419 people in the ecosystem, those who ring you and try to steal your data off your phone by doing social engineering, pretending to be your friend. They are all actors in the cyberspace. The good people are some of us who are protecting the data, the information security people, the innocent individuals that are doing their social media stuff. We are all authorized actors in the cyberspace, but the malicious actors are what the cybersecurity team are protecting us against. And this mandate of the cybersecurity team extends beyond data protection and information security, because they are not just looking at data as a critical national asset. They are looking at power as a critical national asset. They are looking at sewage water system, that nobody poisons the water that we drink. It's part of cybersecurity because it's all digitized. You can now pay for water online, can't you?
Yes.
You can, all of this digitized critical national infrastructure, our TVLA stuff, our national ID stuff, all these digitized buckets of data that is sitting in the kitchen, the visualized cyberspace that we are talking about. So in the kitchen you have the cooker, you have the fridge, you have all the different bits of stuff. The cybersecurity authority is looking at all of that, including data. And then the data protection mandate also extends beyond the kitchen, because we are not just about digitized space. So when you leave the cyberspace, we are still doing data protection, because we are looking at the manual files, the paper files, the office log, who has access to the filing system, your hospital pad, and the school books with personal data, the register, and all the things that are not digitized fall within scope.
Okay.
Things that are happening in the cyberspace is where we overlap. And then they have stuff that is outside data protection, the power and sewage. We have stuff outside the cyberspace, which is the manual data that we have. And that is the way data protection and cybersecurity
are related. And so on that relation note, I think that we have learned a lot about data protection. We have learned some jargons in the cyberspace and everything, and we are grateful to you for taking your time to speak to us right here on Privacy Focus. My name is Anna Maria Emisa. Many thanks for joining us. We'll catch you again next week.
Thank you.
Privacy Focus is supported by Clean Eats. Clean Eats, healthy fast food.